Right, now my old shed is looking a little bit worse for wear really. Looks okay from a distance, but let's have a look close up. This door here, what I'm shutting now, this will be changed at some point, but I may get another year out of this, so you can see when we go close to it, it really does need a bit more protection. I usually do it every year, and what I'm going to be doing is spraying this. I'm going to give all this a bit of a clean down first, get all this old crap off the bottom, give it a good brush down, and then I'm going to mask everything up. Got a bit of masking to do here. We've got to mask up around the windows, just a bit of tape just to cover the top of that felt up, and then got to mask up all these little ins and outs here. I should cut a template really that I can just slide up against it. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to be using the bedec barn paint, and I must say it's really good stuff. It's expensive. I think this little 2.5 litre tin was £38, and that was from Toolstation. So it is expensive, but the finish it gives you and the protection is, I think, a cut above the rest rather than the usual stuff, you know, like your coop pinholes or your Ronseals. Because I suppose the obvious difference is this is more of a paint, whereas the other stuff is more of a stain. But this just looks really good, and the water definitely sheds off it a lot better, I think, in my opinion. Anyway, let's get masked up and then we'll spray this. I think we're going to use the sprayers I've got. Excuse Brucey, he was being used for other purposes. I might put it at the end of this video. You'll see what I was using this for at the end of the video. But I'm going to use this probably to spray it, a little Wagner FC 3500, and the FC stands for finish control, if any of you don't know. But I'll get it out and show you, because for those of you that do watch the channel, you'll know that my go-to handheld sprayer, which was the Graco Quick Shot, that had to go, it packed up and it had to go. But anyway, that's on the playlist somewhere if you want to see it. So let's get some masking tape out and some masking paper and mask this up ready for spraying. And this tape is the orange masonry tape. I think it's Dolphin. It's made by Dolphin. And I tend to get this off Amazon. I think it's about 20 odd quid for 5 rolls. Right, so that's not taking too long, 15-20 minutes masking up, and that's all done. I might run just a little bit of tape along the top of that felt drip there, just to protect it. I'll lay some sheeting down as I go, because obviously it's quite windy out here, so I don't want to lay nothing down that's going to keep blowing. So I'll just lay down a little bit of decorator's fleece, and then we'll get to filling up the cup with the barn paint, and we'll probably dilute that down a touch, I would imagine. I'll see what it's like. I'll give it the test with a stick and lift it up, see how well it's falling, and then we can have a couple of test sprays on the paper on the outside of that window, just make sure we're getting a good fan pattern. But I don't think I've used the Wagner one in any of my videos. I might have used it once. I think when I did my fence panels, I think I put it to the test, because I tested 4 sprayers on the fence panels. So you may have seen it, but we'll go into maybe a little bit more detail with that today, because that is going to be my handheld sprayer now. Now the Graco's gone, I'm going to start getting some more use out of that. Right, so this is the Wagner one. This is called an FC 3500. It's very similar to the garden ones you get for your sheds, really. It just looks exactly the same. I think the only difference with it is it's got a couple more settings on it. It's obviously a bit of a better quality build as well. You can feel that when you hold it. You can feel it's heavier and it's got a bit more about it really. So first bit you get is this turbine, and these are similar to some of the ones you might have where the turbine would sit on the floor and then you would have a hose pipe attached to your cup, which is going to look something like this. Now with the cheaper garden ones, the cups are plastic. These are made of metal, so they're a little bit more robust, but it's the same principle. The hose will come off the back of that and it will go into your turbine. Now the only difference with this is that there is no hose as such. This is the turbine and that just clicks straight into there. So this is drawing air into it and pushing the air through, down that pipe, into that cup. The pressure builds up in the cup. It has to come back out of that cup and it comes out and pushes it back through this nozzle. So yeah, that's just the premise of it really. Quite a heavy thing really, because you've got this weight, but you soon get used to it. But they're really good if you just sort of want to do this sort of work, but they're not so great maybe if you're spraying kitchen cabinets, because you can't get this inside. You haven't got the manoeuvrability as you have with this airless one. You know, it's a lot bigger if you're trying to manoeuvre in tight spaces. But for outside stuff, for sheds, even for doors, this is great. So I've got the standard spray nozzle on it. The standard spray is a yellow colour. And then you get the fine coat spray, which is usually a brown colour. Which, to be honest, I quite like the fine coat spray. I might even change to that for this shed, because I don't want too much overspray with this. So I might just change to the brown one. So here's the brown one, and you can see the nozzle on the end is thinner. This has got a wider nozzle on it, which is going to let more paint out. This is just a very thin nozzle, but you can sort of open it up. You can dial it in and out with these settings there. You know, you can twist it left or right for horizontal and vertical. And this bit here will move left and right, and that'll open the fan up from a smaller to a bigger circle. And the great thing about these is that if you're spraying two different colours or two different materials, you haven't got all that washing out. All you do is change one pot over, clip this pot on, and off you go straight away. If you buy cheap tools and you get these tiny little spanners with them, keep them. They are the best things for opening tins up, look. They just sit in there lovely. And because they've got the two prongs on them, it spreads out a little bit further around the tin, rather than you trying to do it with one thing. These just really get under without denting the edge of the tin. They're brilliant. Now you can see already that is way too thick to go for that sprayer. It's almost like a jelly. So we're going to have to water that down a bit first. Watered that down, probably about 20% really. Right, now let's give it a test. So that was the first pass, and I had the flow rate on a bit higher, and I had the pressure pushing out a lot higher as well. So I don't really want to put that much paint on in one go. I want it controlled, so I've just dialed down it a little bit. So you dial down by, you've got this dial here, and that's like airflow, how much air is being pushed back through there. So I've turned that down a bit, and then you've also got a little dial here, which in theory all it does is let the trigger go further in or further out, but the further in the trigger gets pulled, the more this pin opens up and lets the material out of here. Obviously the less that trigger gets pulled, the smaller the opening that this pin lets out. So that's what I've done. I've dialed that down and I've dialed that down because I just want to control it really. So I don't know if you noticed that seemed to be just spitting and spluttering a bit, and I could have watered the paint down a bit more, which would have made it flow a little bit better. But I don't really want to water that down too much. I don't just want to be spraying black water onto my woodwork. So I'm going to switch over to the standard spray, and that will be a bit of a wider nozzle on it, so hopefully it should eliminate all that spitting and spluttering out of the way. Right, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not happy with the way that sprayer is spraying. It just feels like it's spitting and spluttering. And I've had one of these before, these Wagner sprayers, and if I'm really honest with you, the only thing I used to use it for was with a brown coat for fine finishing. You know, if I was doing doors or a bit of woodwork and stuff, I thought it was good for that because it dialed in. I never thought it was anything to write home about to use on walls and things like that. I never liked it for that. Great for fence panels, but I've been doing spraying long enough now that I don't want to be using a sprayer that's just spluttering. I want something a bit decent. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change over to the Bauer airless sprayer, and I'm going to see how that performs with that stuff. I want to be honest with you, I could edit this video down to make out that was doing a great job on that, but it's not what I'm about. I don't just want to make myself look good. If I'm showing you something, I want it to be the real thing, and if I'm not happy with it, I will tell you. I don't just want to make content that makes me look good. You know, I could put a bit of music over that and you wouldn't hear that spluttering and coughing and spluttering that thing. So if I put music over it, it would all look lovely and smooth. But I try and be as honest as I can with you all. I think that's a respect thing. I respect you enough for watching me and giving me comments, good or bad. You know, at least you're engaging with me. And I think the least I can do is be honest with you, because I know some of you, on the strength of some of these sprayers I've showed, I think some of you have actually gone out and bought them, and the last thing I would ever want to do is give out false information. So what I'm basically saying is, when it comes to that Wagner sprayer, it's okay for some things, but it's not good for everything. Now that would probably be great if you just want to do a load of fence panels, it's okay. But if I was going to buy one just to do fence panels, I certainly wouldn't buy that one, because I think that one was about 500 quid. I'd buy one of these 60 quid ones from B&Q, which is just an all plastic thing, which would do exactly the same job. So anyway, I'm going to change over now. And also there's another thing I want to do. So I'm getting ahead of myself now. I've just hit 1,000 subscribers, by the way. So anyone that's subscribed in the last few days, well, all of you, literally all of you, 1,000 thanks to everyone that subscribed. It's a milestone for me. I never thought I'd get there, you know, little old me making a few videos. I thought you had to be, you know, like one of these top YouTube guys, but it just shows us little guys can cut through, and we can hopefully do some engaging content that gets a lot of you subscribing. What I'm going to try and do today is, for the Bauer sprayer, I bought myself a whip hose for it. And if you don't know what a whip hose is, for the last bit between the end of the hose and the gun, you can buy these thinner hoses, and they've got a lot more flex in them. They move about a lot easier, and it gives you more manoeuvrability. So I'm going to try and connect that on, because I tried it before and it was leaking out of one of the joints. But I think I may just need a bit of PTFE tape on it. So I'm going to get this rigged up. Oh, that's a beast. It's got to be that one there, surely. Got to be that one for that one, I would imagine. Yeah. Right. So now the end of this whip hose goes into there, and then on the other end we just connect to the gun, and that will give us the last, I think it's a meter, it might be 1 point something, but the last bit will be a lot easier to use. So I'm going to get a bit of a PTFE tape out and sort them joints out, because last time the paint leaked through it, which is obviously not good. Now when I used to work with plumbers, they always used to say to me 7 times round is the ideal. But that was for radiator valves and things. I don't know if it's going to be too much for this. I think I feel like I want to stop there. Do you know what? I hope you all spotted that before I did. Sometimes I'm such a winkle, honestly. Made myself laugh here. Did you see what I've done? Did you? Right, let's show you what I've just done. I completely lost my chain of thought there. I've done it up to itself. You couldn't make that up, could you? And I honestly didn't mean that. That's not for comic effect. Oh, let's undo it again. Right, I had an absolute disaster. I started priming that up and I was holding the gun, priming it back into a bucket, not looking at the joint that I just formed with that whip hose, and it all started coming out everywhere. It must have been coming out for about 30 seconds before I realised it, and I looked down. You can see it was spraying on my boot a bit, but it went on the ground. But lucky enough, this is that chippings, you know, like with the resin, so it just washed straight through again. But had that had been on someone's patio with like a, you know, like a concrete flagstone, I would have been absolutely fucked in. Again, just being honest with you, I've tried this a couple of times, this whip hose, and it has done that a couple of times, but I've not tried it with PTFE, and I just thought that that would guarantee to seal the joint up. So I don't know what it is. I've used whip hoses before, but for some reason it doesn't want to seal the joint. It might be a dodgy whip hose because it seems to come out of not where the gun is. It seems to come out of this joint here. So anyway, let's get back to where we were. Yeah, let's get this done quick. Let's just pull this door to. Don't want too much overspraying there. You can see with this airless, the control is much better. Brilliant. Right, I'm not going to lie to you, that was a poxy job. I wish I'd just started with the airless from the beginning, really. The whip hose went straight in the bin. There's definitely something wrong with that connection. I've connected that 2 or 3 times, and each time, doesn't matter what material I'm putting through it, it fails at the same point. So that's gone in the bin. I'm not having that mucking about anymore. So I just went straight to the airless as it was, and that was absolutely perfect, as it always is. It always just does the job. So the only thing I would have done in hindsight is not used a 2.5 litre tin, because by the time it got down there, the machine's telling it there's no more in it. So what I had to do is fill up a bucket of water, then dunk the hose, you know, like the suction hose from the bow into the water. So then the water's coming through and it's pushing the last bit of paint out of the hose, obviously, before the water comes through. So really and truly, 2.5 litres with an bow, with one of these airless bow sprayers, it's no good. By the time the pump and the hose pipe is all full up, you're already down there with this stuff. So you really and truly, you need a 5 litre tin if you're going to start spraying this sort of stuff. But anyway, another job done. I really wish I'd thought about it before I made the video. I should have just gone straight in with the airless with no attachments. Would have been a lovely little video, but I'm showing you as it really happens. I was in a bit of a rush today to get that done. I don't know why. I'm covered in it. That's me for Sunday. I'll see you tomorrow when I'm back to plastering again. And hopefully it should go a bit better than this did. Hello? Anybody there? Hello? Is there anybody there? Is that you? Hello? Jesus, what is in there? Who's in there? Come on, come out. Who's in there? That teacher leave me alone when I'm trying to tap dance. Marvellous.